Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Greg Sports. This is the CFL DFS video for week number 14. If you're joining me for the very first time, this is how this week's video will be structured. We'll be going over my CFL sheet for week number 14, talking about all the relevant players, whether or not I would play them as a GPP option, a cash game option, GPP paydown, and then kind of whether or not I'll be overweight or underweight to the field, slightly overweight, slightly underweight, kind of in line with the field just in general. I do want to apologize first and foremost because I did not have a video last week, just kind of with Labor Day and the different schedule. Was a little bit tricky to get that video out as I was kind of hoping to get it out, I think, on Friday. Just didn't end up being the case, unfortunately, though. So I do once again apologize for that. But without further ado, we're going to get into this week. And we're going to start off with the BC Lions. We got Nathan Rourke at quarterback, $9,200 GPP option. Probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him this week. A little bit of a tougher matchup going against that Alouettes defense, but do like his upside once again. And then at running back, we got William Stanback, $8,400 GPP option. Probably going to be in line with the field on him. He's been a little bit better as of late, so if you want to get a little bit overweight to him, I wouldn't be against that. But I think it's still a pretty good running back position this week overall. In terms of the wide receiving options, we got Keon Hatcher here at $9,000 GPP option, probably in line with the field on him. If you really want to play like Alexander Hollins or Justin McInnes, you could do it. Probably a little bit pricier than I would like just in general. Aiden Eberhardt has played really well the last couple of weeks and has shown some decent chemistry with Nathan Rourke, so he's $2,900. So potential paydown option there, maybe slightly overweight to the field on him this week. Kind of one of those filler options if you just need a cheap option in your wide receiver or flex position. And then we move down to the Lions defense, $3,400. So they're a viable paydown option, although I will be underweight to them. I do like that Montreal Alouettes offense, even though they're really hurting at that wide receiver position at this point in time. Then we move over to the Montreal Alouettes, Cody Fajardo at quarterback, $8,200 GPP option. You could maybe even call him a GPP paydown option with that price tag, but probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him, like the matchup against the BC Lions. If he can get much out of this wide receiver group, should be pretty good for him overall. And then at running back, we got Walter Fletcher once again, $10,200 GPP option. Probably going to be slightly underweight to the field on him just based on that price tag, but I do see the upside with him once again, and he could get some more receptions kind of with how this wide receiver room is looking at this point in time. In terms of the wide receivers, Tyson Philpott's still on the 6-game IL. Julian Grant is also still remaining out on that 6-game IL. Tyler Snead was able to practice in full on Tuesday and Wednesday, was listed as questionable, but he's not on the depth chart. And then Austin Mack has since joined the 6-game injured list as well, who did recently come back to the team. So really at this point in time, you're looking at Cole Speaker, GPP option, $5,500. Probably going to be in line with the field on him, maybe slightly overweight. Charleston Ram was another GPP option, though, if you want to go that direction at $5,900. Didn't add that note there since I did not know that Austin Mack was on the 6-game injured list till I saw the depth chart earlier today. So I think mainly it's those two guys. They did bring Reggie White Jr. back up from the practice squad as well as Jose Barbon, but I don't think either one's on DraftKings at this point in time. If they get added, I'll make a note of that down in the comment section. And then last but not least, we get down to that Montreal Alouettes defense, $4,200 GPP option, in line with the field. A little bit upside there against the BC Lions, but if the Lions offense looks like it has the last 2 weeks, it could be a little bit less enticing just in general. Then we move down to the Toronto Argonauts, Chad Kelly, $8,500 GPP option. Will be slightly overweight to the field on him. Definitely do like the upside that he does have on any given week, any given slate. Obviously, it was a little bit rusty coming back, but at the same time, he's thrown for a good amount of yards, does have that high-end upside. Kadeem Carey at running back, $10,500 GPP option. I do have him as slightly underweight to the field just based on that price tag, but seems to be that bell cow running back for them once again. And then in terms of the wide receiver department, pretty similar to what I had listed in the sheet that I shared for free last week. DeMonte Coxie GPP option in line with the field at $5,000. Navaris Daniels listed as questionable, was limited on practice on Wednesday, was full in practice on Thursday. We'll see whether or not he plays or not. He's coming off a pretty strong week, though. And David Unger, the third, $2,900 paydown option, will be slightly overweight to the field on him. He's shown some pretty good chemistry with Chad Kelly just in general. And then the one other note from their wide receiver room, Tommy Neal was able to practice in full on Thursday. He's been on that 6-game injured list. Technically, his list is available. We'll see ultimately whether or not he's now on that depth chart tomorrow. And then we move down to the Ottawa Redblacks. Drew Brown at quarterback, $10,000 GPP option. Probably going to be slightly underweight to the field on him just in general. The Argonauts do have a pretty decent defense. Drew Brown does have some decent upside, but compared to some of the other quarterbacks this week, I'm just not as high on him. Then we have running back. Raquel Armstead was cut by the team this week due to actions on his part, apparently. So do not play him. We'll see who ultimately ends up being running back this week. The only other guy that was listed as running back in recent weeks has been Devontae Dedmon. Technically, this is wide receiver on DraftKings. their primary kick returner. He's out this week too, though. So it's either going to be Khalil Layburn, former Marshall and Florida State running back, who's been on the practice squad for a couple weeks now, or Jamal Morrow, who just signed with the team this week. Both technically are on the practice squad. We'll see which one gets called up, or if both of them ultimately end up getting called up. And we'll have that depth chart at some point tomorrow as well. Then in terms of the wide receivers, mainly looking at Justin Hardy at $11,200. GPP option probably in line with the field on him. Eli Stove you can look at as well, kind of a paydown option. Played pretty well last week, probably in line with the field on him as well. Other than that, Pimbleton's still on the 6-game injury list. Nick Marner showed up on the injury report today with an elbow injury, was limited in practice. Keontae Bruglen was moved over to the practice squad. So it's kind of thinning out at this point in time, mainly just looking at Hardy and Stove at this point. Then we move down to that Redblacks defense, $3,600 GPP paydown option, probably in line with the field. Maybe a little bit of upside to be had here against the Toronto Argonauts if they can play well. But to the Redblacks' credit, they have played better this season than I did expect. And then we move down to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We got Zach Collaros at quarterback, GPP option $9,100, probably in line with the field on him. He was able to practice in full Wednesday and Thursday due to neck injury, technically listed as available, so not worried about him whatsoever. Brady Oliveira, running back, GPP option $11,000. In line with the field on him once again this week. Price tag is up there, which kind of limits him just a little bit, but definitely do like his upside once again. And then in terms of the wide receivers, mainly looking at Nick Dominski and Kenny Lawler. Nick Dominski, $7,300 GPP option, probably in line with the field. Kenny Lawler, $3,700 GPP paydown, probably in line with the field, maybe slightly overweight to the field on him. I will note that Drew Wolchowski did come back last week, $3,100 paydown option if you want to go that direction as well. And then Ontario Wilson does have a little bit of upside at $6,900 as well in GPPs. Lucky Whitehead did not practice on Wednesday and Thursday due to an ankle injury. He's listed as doubtful, so Cody Case probably gets called back up to do the punt and kick return duties. It could be Chris Smith at this point in time. We'll just have to see. Or, maybe they just use who they already have on the roster. And like Josh Johnson and Johnny Augustine, they probably could do the duties as well. Then we move down to that Winnipeg Blue Bombers defense. They played pretty well in recent weeks, so $5,000 GPP option. I am slightly underweight to the field on them just because I think they're overpriced. But other than that, if you want to go out there, play them, definitely does make some sense. Then we move down to the Rough Riders. We got Trevor Harris at quarterback, $9,400. GPP option, probably going to be slightly overweight to him this week overall. Probably going to get a decent amount of ownership since he's coming off a pretty strong performance. Frankie Hickson at running back, $6,000 GPP, probably going to be overweight to the field on him. Hasn't been quite as good in the recent weeks, but I definitely do like his upside at that cheaper price tag. And then in terms of the wide receivers, it's kind of up in the air this week. So Dante Myers is out due to a shoulder injury, but Keyshawn Johnson's probably the most notable one here, $4,100. GPP paydown option, probably in line with the field on him. If you want to get to Sean Bain Jr., Samuel Amelis, Keon Schaefer-Baker, I think there's definitely some merit there. Schaefer-Baker would probably be my favorite of those three, but it is a little bit more difficult to tell at this point in time. Then we get down to that Rough Riders defense, $4,000, slightly underweight to the field on them going against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have not performed up to standards as of their most recent couple games, so maybe a little bit lower on them this week than I would be otherwise. Then we move down to the Edmonton Elks. So I'm assuming McCloy Bethel-Thompson gets the start once again. Trey Ford has not been listed on the practice report all week. McCloy Bethel-Thompson's played pretty well the last couple weeks, so whoever it is at quarterback, GPP option, probably in line with the field on them. We'll see what that looks like as the depth chart does come out. Then the running back situation, a little bit more murky. So we got Kevin Brown, Javon Leake that split carries last week. Not really trying to get to either one this week overall. Then we move down to our wide receivers. So Curly Gittin Jr. is coming off a strong week. GPP option in line with the field on him. As long as McCloy Bethel-Thompson is starting, if it's Trey Ford, probably not going to get to too much of him. Eugene Lewis, $7,000 GPP option, looks pretty good. Probably going to be in line with the field on him as well. And then Tevin Jones, still only $4,000. Pay down option coming off a really, really strong performance. So probably going to be overweight or slightly overweight to the field on him this week. Just kind of depends on where that ownership comes in at. And then last but not least, we have that Elks defense, $3,500. They're a pay down option, probably slightly overweight to the field on them going against the Stampeders this week. I think there is some opportunities to be had there, although I don't really like that Elks defense just in general. Then we move down to that Stampeders team. Jake Mayer, quarterback, $9,600 GPP option. I think there's just better quarterback options at the relative price tag. So slightly underweight to the field on him this week. He's kind of the one guy that takes a hit since I'm kind of overweight to the field on some different quarterbacks this week. Then we move down to the running back position. Kylan Hill kind of took over the role last week, $4,200 paid on option, maybe in a cash game option if you want to go there. We'll be overweight to the field on him this week overall. In terms of their receiving options, mainly Reggie Bagleton, Mark and Michelle, kind of GPP options, $8,800 and $6,100 respectively. In line with the field on both of them this week overall. Jalen Philpott coming off a decently strong performance, $2,900. You could go there as a pay down option if you want to do so. And then we have Ishmael Hyman down here too at $2,800. Was limited in practice on Wednesday, but was able to practice in full on Thursday due to a hamstring injury. Technically listed as available. Been showing a little bit more offensively, so he could be another potential paydown option as well. And then last but not least, that Calgary Stampeders defense, $4,100 GPP option, probably in line with the field. I think there's a little bit of upside versus the Elks, although they didn't really show it, I believe, last week. I believe this is one of the back-to-back games, so maybe a little bit more hesitant to play them just in general, but there is a little bit of upside to be had there at the same time as well. And then last but not least, the Tiger Cats are the one lone team on the bye this week. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on my CFL DFS sheet for week number 14. As always, if you have any questions related to CFL DFS for week number 14, be sure to drop them down in the comment section of this video, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then with that being said, I'll also be listing all the depth charts down in the comment section of this video, as well as any other relatively notable news. Anything else beyond that will be listed on my Patreon page, as well as the updates to the sheet. So definitely be on the lookout over there as well. Very small monthly donation there. If you're also into NFL DFS as well, probably well worth that price tag at that point in time, because I will be posting my player pools and a couple other things there in terms of NFL content. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS. In terms of the core picks videos, Monday through Friday, we'll be having NFL DFS content starting up this week, and then obviously the CFL DFS content coming out once a week, typically on Wednesdays. Kind of depends on what the schedule looks like the rest of the year for CFL. I think they might be shifting back more towards like Fridays and Saturdays. So if it's on Friday, then it'll be on Thursday. But I will keep you guys very much updated on that. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for Prize Picks, Parlay Play, and BetUS. If you're a brand new user on any one of those three sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. And then with that being said, if you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether that's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport. Be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for this week's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tune in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great day, no matter what day you're watching this video on, a good weekend overall, and some pretty good luck in CFL DFS for week number 14.